welcome. So, okay, before we start, I would like to thank you all for joining us, for deciding to register to this meeting today to learn about policy and payments in Lodgify. And I would also take the opportunity to thank Jon, who is here with me. He's the product manager in the reservation team here at Lodgify, and he will be helping us with the question and answers session that we will have at the end of the presentation. So thank you very much, Jon, for being here, for deciding to join this webinar with me. All right, so I can see you're already very active in the chat, so that's great. I hope you have a lot of questions that we will try to cover at the end of this presentation. A few important reminders before we start. This meeting is being registered, okay? It's being recorded, so you will receive the recording at the end of the week. We will send a follow-up email. Inside the follow-up email, you will find the link to the recording, okay? So don't worry if you couldn't join, but also don't worry if you're not gonna make it until the end of the presentation, because you will be able to catch up later on when you have time to do it. Also, this is an ongoing series. It's called Mastering Lodgify Series. We already had a few episodes about the creation of the rental, the rates. If you're interested in rewatching or watching for the first time the previous episodes, you'll find everything in the Lodgify YouTube channel. And it's also there's also more coming. So I suggest that you all keep an eye on your inbox, because we will be sending more invitations for the upcoming months, especially if you're interested in learning more about Lodgify Channel Manager. That's next up in our schedule. So today we will be learning, as I said, about Lodgify policies and payments, two features and two topics that I am sure are very dear to the majority of you. You want to learn how to be able to configure your booking policy for your rentals in Lodgify, and also how to be able to collect payments, right? When you get bookings, it's very important for you to be able to receive payments, to collect the payments in the easiest, safest, quickest way possible. And we will be covering all of this today. In fact, just to give you a quick overview of the topics that we will be discussing together today, this is just a recap. We will deep dive into all of these points. So configure your booking policy, policies and bookings, payment methods, and collecting payments. And we will see how, these features, we will see them in action in Lodgify. All right, let's start with defining the booking policy. What is the booking policy? The booking policy defines how booking payments, cancellations, and security deposit will be handled for your rental. This is different from the rental agreement. The rental agreement is just a blank space where you can manually write your house rules, and you can definitely use that space, that field in the rental page in Lodgify to reinforce the rules that you will configure in the booking policy. But today we will be looking specifically at how to configure all of this, all right? So it's important to remember that in Lodgify, you can only assign one policy at a time to your rental. That is the policy that will be applying to the bookings you receive through the Lodgify website, okay? So while this is just an example, okay? While this is the policy applying to the rental, this is the policy that will be assigned to the bookings you receive directly from your Lodgify website. And of course, because the policy acts as a contract between yourself and your guests, guests will be able to see the policy on the website while booking. And clearly, when they confirm the booking, they are agreeing to the terms of your policy. So let's take a look very quickly at where the policy can be configured in Lodgify. First of all, it can be configured directly from the booking settings section of your rental in Lodgify, right? So this is the section. This is just an example of a rental. You can click on these three dots here to edit the policy, because when you create a Lodgify account or a new rental, automatically Lodgify will assign a sort of a default policy, okay? But you can edit that policy at any time, and you can also create new policies and have different policies assigned to different rentals if you have more than one rental in Lodgify. At the same time, you can also manage all of your policies directly from the policies section of the account. So you would have to click on the left-hand menu, select settings, policies, and then from here, you can create new policy, as many as you want. There's no restriction nor limited number of policies that can be created, but remember that you can only assign one at a time, even though you can change it anytime. Okay, so the policy can be changed anytime. The policy is configured, as I said, in 3 different
Give us a moment, folks, as we reconnect, and Adriana will be joining us again.
I'm not in meeting. Am I in the meeting?
You are.
Okay, good. Sorry, there was some technical issue, and I am back. Let me share the screen once again, just a second. Please let me know if you can't hear me well or if you can see the screen, and I'll try to fix the issue as soon as possible. Yeah, tech problem can happen. Can you see me now? Can you hear me well? Can you see the screen? Yeah, could you please confirm in the chat? Yes, okay, great. Amazing. Okay, sorry for that. My apologies. All right, so we were talking about the payment schedule. We were talking about the policy in general. The policy is made of 3 different components: the payment schedule, the cancellation policy, and the security deposit. Let's take a quick look at what are the options for the payment schedule. What is the payment schedule, first of all, and then how it can be configured in Lodgify. So the payment schedule determines how and when payments should be collected. So the guest will book on the website. They will see the booking cost, so the total at the end of the booking process, and they will also be able to see in how many payments that cost, so the entire amount of the booking, will be collected. And in Lodgify, the payment schedule can be configured in 3 different ways. You can choose to collect the entire booking cost, so 100% of the booking amount, at the time of booking. That means that if the booking price is, I don't know, 500 will be requested at the moment of booking for the booking to be confirmed. So the payment, the policy also determines when the booking is confirmed. In this case, of course, if you request 100% of the booking price to be collected at the time of booking, the payment of the entire amount will automatically confirm the booking. Okay, so as soon as the guest pays, the booking will be confirmed. The next option is, okay, let's split the booking cost into different payments. The first payment can be a percentage of the total booking cost, or it can also be a flat amount. So here in this drop-down, you will be able to choose whether you want to charge a percentage or a flat amount. But it is important to remember that the first payment is always requested at the time of booking, and it's necessary for the confirmation of the booking. Let's imagine that you instead don't need any payment collected at the time of booking. You want the booking to be confirmed straight away without collecting any payment. Okay, you can do that as well with this option. You simply enter 0% here. That means the first payment is 0% of the booking amount. Therefore, the residual balance will be collected later on. Later on means that you can choose exactly when the residual balance should be collected. It can be X number of days before arrival, after arrival, before departure. You can also choose to not schedule it in Lodgify. That means that you will be taking care of collecting that residual balance externally. Okay, and you can share further information on how this amount will be collected, because when you select this option, there's going to be a small field where you can manually type this information, so that the guest is aware, and that is going to display on the website as well. Last but not least, you can split the booking cost in 3 different payments. So the first payment, again, can be a percentage or a flat fee, but it's always collected at the time of booking. The second payment can be a percentage to be collected X number of days before arrival, after arrival, that is up to you. And then the residual balance will be collected again X number of days before or after the arrival and or departure. As all options are quite used, out of these 3, I would say that the 2 payments one is probably the most common, but we also see a lot of customers using the 1 payment option. But this just gives you a bit more flexibility, depending also on the type of property that you are renting and how high the booking cost is. That's really up to you, but all 3 are valid ways of collecting the payment, or in general, or dividing the payments of the booking cost. But I would say the 2 options is probably the most common one. Right, this is just, let's take a quick look at how everything would look like on the website. So the 1 payment option would look like this. So this is the booking cost, and it's 1 payment. So the entire payment, now we have the conversion here in the different currency, will be collected right now. So it's the moment the guest is making the booking. The second payment, when it's 2 payments, this is how it would look like. So the first payment collected at the time of booking, and the second payment in this example is collected on March 1st. So the website also shows the exact date that the second payment will be collected, and same happens for the third option. Okay, so third payment will be collected on March 4th in our example. And this is how the payment schedule looks like on the website. Okay, so this is visible to the guest when they're making the booking. Moving on to another very important part of the booking policy, the cancellation policy. What happens if the guest cancels the booking? The cancellation policy defines the possibility and amount of a refund when the guest cancels a booking. And once again, Lodgify offers you 3 different options for the cancellation policy. The first option is the non-refundable option. So in case of cancellation, no refund will be issued, ever. The second option is the fully refundable option, so the opposite of the non-refundable. In all cases, guests will receive a full refund of whatever amount was previously paid. And last but not least, partially refundable. That means that you can give a full or a partial refund to your guests if they cancel under certain conditions. In fact, when you select partially refundable, you have to add rules. It can be 1 rule, it can be multiple rules. That is up to you. This is how it looks like. So, for example, I want to refund 100% of any prepaid payment if you cancel 60 days before arrival, but I can refund 50% if you cancel 30 days before arrival. And you can keep adding as many rules as you want. And just to give you like some extra information, I would say that out of these 3 options, the partially refundable one is the one that we see the most, is also in line with the cancellation options that the most common or the most famous online travel agencies offer. So it's largely used together with the non-refundable option as well, if you want to be a bit stricter. So that is the cancellation policy. Again, the cancellation policy is clearly visible on the website to the guests, so they know exactly what's going to happen. This is visible before they finalize the booking. The non-refundable option would look like this in the checkout page, in the payment step. The fully refundable option looks like this, so 100% of paid prepayments refundable when canceled 0 days before arrival or earlier. And the partially refundable option looks like this, with all the conditions well visible to the guest on the checkout page. Next and last component of the booking policy will be the security deposit. What is the security deposit? It's an optional charge asked to guests upon arrival to account for possible damages. What happens if a guest breaks a chair or a lamp or the couch or any other type of damage that you can think of, which of course we always hope never happen, but just in case, the security deposit helps you cover for those costs. The security deposit in Lodgify can be configured in two different ways. Manual security deposit, that means that even though the guest is made aware of this amount when booking, the way this amount will be collected and managed in general is external to Lodgify. It can be in cash upon arrival or any other method that you want to use. Okay, it's just external to Lodgify. It can also be pre-authorized on the credit card. That means that you must have a credit card payment gateway enabled, and we will talk about this, how to enable credit card payment gateways in Lodgify, and it's also currently not available to starter plans. So if you have a professional or ultimate subscription to us, you will be able to use both options. If you have a starter subscription, you will be able to use the manual security deposit. All right, so let's take a look at how to configure the manual security deposit. When setting up your policy, you can choose, of course, you will have to choose manually charge and refund deposit. And here you can define the amount that can be a flat amount or a percentage of the total of the booking cost, or it can be percentage of or flat amount. That means whichever is higher of the two. So if the percentage is higher than the flat amount, the percentage will apply. If the flat amount is higher than the percentage, the flat amount will apply. And again, it just like the payment schedule and the cancellation policy, the manual security deposit is visible on the checkout page, okay? It's not part of the booking cost. So you will not see, the guest will not see it in the booking breakdown. It's in a different section here, okay, together with the other details. And as I said at the beginning, manual security deposit means that you can choose how to collect it externally, and it can be done in many different ways. For example, cash or with a PayPal link. So you can send a PayPal me link to your guests and have them pay through that. Pre-authorized security deposit. How does it work? We will look into this. We will go really in depth on this pre-authorization, but just to give you some general information. The funds are held on the guest credit card. That means that it's not a charge. The pre-authorization is not a charge. It's just a block. The amount that you configure for the security deposit is just a block, is freezed on the guest credit card, but it never leaves the guest credit card. The pre-authorization in general is always released after 7 days. We can't hold that amount for more than 7 days, but do not worry, because you can pre-authorize the same credit card multiple times. So even though the funds are always released after 7 days, you can keep pre-authorizing so that the entire stay is covered by the pre-authorization. Now, let's take of course, sorry, I forgot to mention that, of course, the pre-authorization is also visible in the last step of the checkout for the guest to agree to it. Right, there we go. Let's take a closer look at how to configure the pre-authorization. As I said at the beginning, the first requirement is to have a credit card payment gateway activated in Lodgify. And even though we will be talking more about this later in this meeting, this is done in the payment section of the account. So you can choose your favorite gateway out of these options that you see here, activate the integration, and then go back to the policy. You can now pre-authorize the damage deposit, the security deposit. You would have to choose this option. And again, just like for the manual security deposit, you can choose whether it should be a flat amount or booking a percentage of the booking amount, or whichever is higher of the two. Last but not least, configure the protection period. This is very important because it allows you to establish when the pre-authorization should start, which is either on the check-in day or 1 day before or 1 day after the check-in, okay? But The protection period can end up to 7 days after the checkout. So the guest checks out and you still have 7 days after their departure to pre-authorize again. What does it mean? That this gives you a lot of margin and buffer after the guest has checked out to go and check your rental. If you cannot do it on the same day that the guest checks out or the day after, you still have enough time to be sure that no damage was caused to your property. All right. I wanted to also take 1 second to talk about the 7 days restriction, if we want to call it restriction. Every pre-authorization will be voided automatically after 7 days. So we cannot block that amount more than 7 days on the guest credit card. This is not really a Lodgify policy nor a Lodgify limitation. It depends on a lot of different factors. It's also, I think, in some way a legal sort of requirement, and it depends on the bank, it depends on the credit card issuer, and a lot of other variables. But it's very common in the industry for the pre-authorization to be released after 7 days. The important thing is that even though that happens, you can still pre-authorize so that you know, okay, I'm covered. When the pre-authorization expires, you get a notification, okay? So you are notified by Lodgify, look, with this reservation, the pre-authorization has expired, so be sure to pre-authorize again, okay? All right, how do we handle the pre-authorization? The first pre-authorization can be issued manually or automatically. All subsequent pre-authorizations will have to be manually issued from the reservation in Lodgify. So you have an option. I will show you this option later. You have the option to automatically have the system pre-authorize on your behalf automatically, according to based on the protection period, on when you have configured the protection period to start. It can be, as I said, on the check-in day or 1 day before or 1 day after. But all following pre-authorization, so if for the same reservation you have to pre-authorize multiple times, the first one can be automatic, but the following ones will have to be issued manually. And you can do it from the reservation. So open the reservation in Lodgify, scroll to the bottom until you get to the security deposit widget. Click on these 3 dots here on the top right corner and select authorize. And it will automatically authorize once again for 7 more days, as you can see here. And if any damages to the property occurs, you can capture from the pre-authorized amount. Of course, the pre-authorization covers you in case anything happens to the property. So if nothing happens, the authorization will be voided automatically. You don't have to do it manually, even though you could if you wanted to void that the funds out manually. However, if you during the stay or after the stay realize that there was an item damaged in your property, or for any other reason you need to cover for specific costs caused by the guest, you can click on the plus icon in the security deposit widget and select capture. You don't necessarily have to capture the entire amount. You can capture part of it, okay? Or also the entire amount if you need. And this is how you would do it. Right, so I have collected a couple of very recurring questions that we get from our customers on the topic, and I think I would share those with you. I'm sure that this can be useful to know. Can I change the policy of a booking? Very common question that we get from customers. The policy of a confirmed booking cannot be changed. Why? The policy, as we said at the beginning, is a contract between you and your guests. So you create the policy for your rental, but then the guest agrees to that policy. That means, okay, I accept that this is how I will be charged, and this is what's going to happen if the booking is canceled. And I'm aware that there's going to be this pre-authorization on my credit card, or that I will be asked for a certain amount when I check in. If you want to change the policy, that means that the guest must agree to it again, because it's a new policy, so new conditions. So if the booking has been confirmed already, so it's booked in Lodgify, the policy can be changed. Solution, you can create, so cancel the previous booking, create a new one, and once you create, if you create the booking from the account, you can choose whatever policy you prefer to assign to that specific booking, regardless of what is the policy assigned to the rental. Okay, if the booking is being created by yourself, you have the flexibility on what policy to assign to that specific booking. All right, so that is one very common scenario. Second frequently asked question is, can I pre-authorize multiple times if the booking is longer than 7 nights? We already covered this in the configuration of the feature, but yes, you can definitely issue multiple pre-authorization within the set protection period. Let's take a look at an example, like with dates. Let's see, okay, how does this work in practice? All right, let's imagine that you receive a booking that starts on March 10th and ends on March 26th. It's 16 days, 16 nights, no, actually 15 nights booking. The first step is that the pre-authorization will be issued on March 10th, on the check-in day, because that's how we configured the protection period. It will be voided automatically on March 17th, so 7 days after. At that point, I still have a few days to cover, right? So I can issue a second pre-authorization on March 17th. I will get the notification that the pre-authorization is expired. I will log into my Lodgify account and I will pre-authorize once again for 7 more days. Therefore, the second pre-authorization will be voided on March 24th, 7 days after. And if you have extended the protection period to X days after the departure, in this example, it's 7 days, you will be able to continue pre-authorizing as many times as needed, even after the guest has checked out. Okay, so that means that you still have a few days after the March 26th to continue pre-authorizing and charge if necessary. Okay. All right, so at this point, this is how policies are configured and work in Lodgify. Of course, together with policies, like policies and payments are very interconnected. They are two features that work together, right? Because based on my policies, on the policy applying to the rental, this is how the payments will be collected or requested, right? So let's take a closer look at payments in Lodgify. First of all, Lodgify offers 3 payment methods, and I'm talking about booking payments: credit card payments, PayPal payments, and manual payments. And you can activate all of these from the payment section of the account. All right, you can choose to activate one or more at the same time. You could also potentially activate all of them together at the same time, and then it's the guest choosing which payment method to use when they're booking. Let's start with credit card payments. So to configure credit card payments, Lodgify doesn't really process payments. Therefore, if you want to collect credit card payment, you will have to activate an integration that Lodgify has with 3 gateways. These gateways are Stripe, Braintree, and Authorized.net. These are the 3 payment gateways that Lodgify has an integration to and that you can use to charge credit card payment through Lodgify. The decision on which gateway you should use, it's personal. It can be influenced by whether the gateway is available in your country or not, because they don't support all countries. But it could also be based on the credit card fees that are charged by each one of these gateways. So if you want to know more on how much Stripe is charging, for example, for that specific type of transaction, you should contact Stripe. They will be able to give you further insights on their fees. Same for Braintree and same for Authorized.net. Also, if you want to know whether your country is supported, this information is available in the public, like in the website of all of them. How do we configure credit card payments? So once we have decided, okay, I want to go with Stripe, so you would have to select Stripe from the payment section of your account. It is important before starting this procedure that you already have an account with the gateway, okay? So be sure to create an account with Stripe or with Braintree or Authorize.net before trying to set up the integration. Then from Lodgify, you click on Connect. You're automatically taken to the login page of Stripe, Authorize.net, and Braintree that will establish the connection. And at that point, you will be able to receive credit card payments, even though keep in mind that each payment gateway will probably put you through a verification process. They have to do their own verification. It's called as Know Your Customer process. It's very common. It's payment, so it's a delicate topic. But once you have been verified, you will be ready to take payments by credit card. Let's take a quick look at how this works. You click on Stripe. In our example, you see there are these credit card fees set by Stripe. Here you're taken to Stripe login page and you log into your Stripe account and you're connected. On top of the credit card fees charged by each specific gateways, there's this 1% transaction fee that is charged by Lodgify on each transaction. And that applies to all three gateways, all right? So Stripe, Authorize.net, and Braintree. However, for Stripe specifically, if you choose to use Stripe, it's an app. There's an app that you can activate from the marketplace in Lodgify. So in Lodgify, there's a section called Marketplace. You can activate the Lodgify extension called Stripe, and the 1% transaction fee will be replaced by a flat amount that you will be charged monthly. So instead of the 1%, you will be charged a flat amount every month to use that integration. So you click on Lodgify extension, Stripe, and from here you can activate this Lodgify extension, let's say, okay? So from our marketplace. This is just available with Stripe. All right, how do we handle credit card payments? Of course, if you activate a gateway, the guest will see the option to pay by credit card in the checkout. They input their credit card number here, and they're done. The transactions, successful transactions, will be automatically recorded in Lodgify in the reservation, like in this example. You see, this is a transaction for a booking. Also, if the transaction fails, because it can happen, there could be issues with the credit card or technical issue with the gateway. If for any reason the transaction fails, it also appears as failed in here. And you can click on the payment line, so on this or on this, for example, to see the error message. Normally in Lodgify, at the bottom of this site panel that opens when you click on the payment line, you can see the error message. In some cases, such as this example, it's quite self-explanatory, right? The guest just input a wrong card number. But in general, if the error message can be a bit more generic, in that case, it's just better to reach out to the support of the gateway because they always have further insights on the reason why the transaction has failed, okay? So it's better to talk to them first. With credit card payments, there's a few advanced options that I would like you to be aware of. Imagine that you have set up a payment schedule of 2 payments or 3 payments, okay? So there's not just one installment, but more than one. You can request the second payment or third payment manually by selecting this option. You click on the plus icon next to the scheduled payment, click on request payment. This will trigger an email notification that includes sent to the guest, that includes a link to the checkout page where the guest can complete the second payment. But when you activate your gateway, you can also enable this option. So if the first payment was paid by credit card, I want the system to automatically charge the same credit card when the second payment has been scheduled or is scheduled according to the payment schedule policy. And also the third payment, for example. So when you activate your gateway, keep an eye on these options that allow you high level of automations. The second advanced option is related to refunds, because credit card payments can be refunded through Lodgify. And they can be refunded manually, so you can manually give the input to the system to issue the refund next to the payment line plus icon issue refund. A side slider will open where you can enter the amount that you want to refund. It can be the total amount or part of it, and the funds are automatically refunded on the same credit card used for the payment. Of course, allow a few days, that depends on the bank as well. But they can also be issued automatically, right? So if you select these options, scheduled refunds, when you are activating your gateway, that means that if the guest cancels and they are eligible to receive a refund because the cancellation happened within the cancellation policy's term, then the refund will be issued automatically by Lodgify, by the system, without you having to do anything. And finally, as we already said, the first pre-authorization can be issued manually. So you would go to the security deposit slider, click on the three dots, authorize, or also automatically issued. So it's the system issuing the pre-authorization on the check-in day or one day before, depending on the protection period that you have configured. All right, so with credit card payments, you have a lot of options, a lot of possibilities, and also a lot of automations available. Still, you don't have to necessarily use these automations. This is up to you. Next payment method would be PayPal payments. It's another payment method that automatically updates the status of the payment in Lodgify. So you activate it from here. You just have to follow of course, it requires you to already have an account in PayPal to be able to use PayPal payments. You can follow the instructions provided inside the account when you activate PayPal. That will guide you through all the steps of the activation. And of course, the only limitation that I see compared to the credit card payments is that if the guest doesn't have a PayPal account, they won't be able to pay by PayPal. So that is the only limitation that I see with if I compare it with credit card payments. But handling PayPal payments is really easy. The guest sees the option to pay by PayPal here in the checkout page, and you see here when there's multiple payment methods enabled, they can choose which one to use to pay. They click on Pay from PayPal, so they're automatically redirected to their PayPal account to do the login and pay from there. And PayPal transactions will automatically be recorded in Lodgify, and then they will look like this in the side panel, where you can see the transaction details. All right. Last, PayPal refunds can only be issued in PayPal. That means that you will not see the option to issue the refund if the payment was done through PayPal. You will have to open your PayPal account, issue the refund from there, then go back to Lodgify. And if you want to keep track of that refund, you manually mark that payment as refunded. All right, so PayPal payment can't be refunded in Lodgify. Last payment method is manual payments. Okay, manual payments is, first of all, it's a premium feature. That means that it is available to ultimate and professional plans, not to starter subscriptions. And manual payments is not really referring to any specific payment methods. We are not talking about cash payments or bank transfer. It's any payment that is collected outside of Lodgify. It doesn't go through the gateways or through the PayPal integration that we have. All right. It could be also a credit card payment, but physical credit card payment. So you have your guest that checks in, and at the check-in they pay by credit card. Okay, that is a credit card payment, yes, but it doesn't go through the system. Therefore, the important thing is that they must be manually updated in Lodgify. We can't record or keep track of payments that happen outside of our system. So manual payments refer to all of those payments that will have to be manually updated in Lodgify. So how do we configure manual payments? From the payment section of your account, click on manual, turn on this toggle here. Select IBAN for bank transfer. So if you want to give your guests the option to pay by bank transfer, you can select IBAN from here, and then you will have to fill in these fields in here. Some banks don't have an IBAN number. In that case, instead of choosing IBAN, you can choose other bank account. And you can use this field to enter your specific bank account details in case you don't have an IBAN number, or instructions, generic instructions on how the payment will be collected. So like in this example, paying cash upon arrival. How are manual payments handled in the reservations? So the guests will see the instructions on how the payment or how to complete the payment when they are confirming the booking. So in the checkout page, they click on continue. They agree to the rental agreement if you have one. And then in the confirmation page, what they see, I don't know if you can see well here, but what they see here is the bank account details if you have used the bank transfer option, or whatever you have added in that field that you have typed in that field will be visible to them after the booking, after they have clicked on confirm. The booking at this point is not confirmed. Why? Because remember that when we talked about the policy, we said that if there is a payment to be done at the moment of booking, for the booking to be confirmed, the booking can't be confirmed if that payment is not automatically registered in Lodgify, right? So at this point, the booking will be tentative in Lodgify. The status will be pending for payment. Why? Because manual payments require you to manually mark them as paid. So you would have to click on that plus icon that you see here next to the booking, next to the payment, and select mark as paid. And then, of course, you can choose to send the confirmation to the guest. All right, refunds. Of course, if we cannot keep track of the payment, we have no information whatsoever related to that payment, refunds of manual payments cannot be issued in Lodgify. You can take care of the refund externally, and then just as you would do with PayPal, you come back to your Lodgify account and mark the payment as refunded. All right. Now, just like for policies, I have gathered a couple of common scenarios and questions that we get from customers. And then once this is covered, we can take a look at your question, because I see the chat moving a lot. I see a lot of movement in the chat. So I want to be able to answer to as many questions as we can. All right. So question number 1, none of the gateway is available in my country. How can I charge credit card payments? There's an hidden option. We have a fourth integration with a gateway called Payo that is available worldwide. There are a few exceptions. It's pretty much available worldwide, but it has to be activated by us. So in case you find yourself in this situation, contact us, help@lodgify.com, and we will double check that Payo is available in your country and activate it for you. Activating it means we will enable it in your account, and then you will have to follow the steps of the integration just as you would with the other gateways. Okay. Second question, can guests use a different credit card for second and third payments? The answer is very simple. The answer is yes, they can. Why? Because if you send a payment request to your guest, or also if you let the system send it, because the system will send the payment request automatically based on your payment schedule, right? So if the second payment is to be collected 3 days before arrival, 3 days before arrival, the system will send the payment request. And the payment request is a notification that includes the link to the checkout page. Please proceed to this payment and click here. When they click on that link, they are taken to Lodgify, to your website checkout page. And in the checkout page, they can either enter a new credit card to pay, or if you have activated multiple payment methods, they can also choose to pay with a different payment method. So yes, it is possible. You simply send the payment request by email, and then the guest will be able to use the credit card that they desire, or any other payment method in case you have enabled any other. All right, and with that, this is it about policies and payments, or at least this is what I had to say about policies and payments, but I see a lot of questions here. So let me, of course, we will be helping each other, me and Jon, in these 15 minutes that remain. Let's take a look. Will you cover our refunds? Yeah, we have covered our refunds are managed in Lodgify. Let me know if you have any more questions. Also, if we can't cover all of the questions, because there's a lot, we will try to include the missing answers in the follow-up email that we sent. Can I change the payment policy for one particular guest? Connie is asking. That depends. If you create the booking manually from Lodgify, you can assign the policy that you wish to the booking. So yes, if it's you creating the booking, of course. If the guest is booking on the website, whatever policy is assigned to the rental in that moment will be the policy assigned to the booking. Okay, and remember that if the booking is confirmed, then the policy can't be changed afterwards. All right, so maybe, I don't know, you can discuss this with your guests. If you have one exception or one specific guest and you would like to allow them to book under, let's say, special conditions, maybe it's better that you create the booking from the account rather than have them book it on the website, because you would have to change the policy for everybody. I have 2-month renter. Why do I have to renew the security deposit charge every few days? As we said, I don't know, Jon, if you want to add anything on this. That's because the 7 days limitation, it's very common, like it's common practice in this industry. So imagine that you have $200 blocked on your credit card. That block cannot last forever, right? So I guess that is the reason why. But I don't know if, Jon, you want to add something to this.
Yeah, just a quick note on this. It's actually just a financial regulation we provide. We cannot hold a deposit any longer than 7 days without actually saying to the guest, or the client in this case, exactly what they're being charged for. So this is really a limitation on credit cards in particular for having a deposit authorized for longer than 7 days. If you do have sort of a case where you want to have a deposit that's longer than 7 days, probably best to sort of arrange with your guest not have it done by pre-authorization using credit card.
Yeah, thank you, Jon. But yeah, I think it's very common, not just in the vacation rental industry, but any service that uses the pre-authorization has to have a certain limit. And then, of course, we give you it's given the option to do it multiple times. Next question would be from Will. Can you cover Squarespace integration? I'm not sure what you are referring to. I think you may be referring to the website, but I'm not sure. So if you're here, just let me know. But the Squarespace integration with the website, it's a topic that we will be covering in the upcoming webinars, because of course we will have more of this, and the website, it's one of the topics that we want to cover as soon as possible. Is there a best practice for payment schedule? I've given you what I have noticed working in the customer success team, but I don't know if you, Jon, agree with me or you have seen something different.
I mean, as far as best practice, it's really it's up to each one of you as individuals, whatever's best for your business. So for some people, it's better to get the whole thing up front and they just have the one payment. Other folks like to spread it out. For some of you who have sort of more luxury and more expensive ones, we've seen that there's a preference for 3 payments. So yeah, it's just up to you. There is no best practice, no industry standard when it comes to payments. It's really just up to you as an individual what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why you have this flexibility, because you can literally then choose whatever would work best for you based on your business or your personal preference as well. So Terence is asking, when you say partially refundable is the most commonly offered, what percentage refund is the most popular? I'd say that our customers tend to emulate a lot what they see in the online travel agencies. Okay, so you know that in Airbnb there are 5 different cancellation policies available, strict, flexible, same on VRBO. So normally I would say it's two conditions: 100% if you book 60 days before arrival, and 50% if you book half of it, so 30 days in this example, or 100 if you book cancel if you cancel 30 days before arrival, and 50% if you cancel 14 days. I am unable to give you like an answer on what percentage is the most popular, but I would say that if you give a look at the cancellation policies options on these channels that I've just mentioned, that is probably what customers tend to do the most. So copy or take inspiration from those policies offered there. Can we use different policies for different rentals? The primary policies for all rentals, but each rental has different policies. Yeah, definitely. While you can't have multiple policies applying to the same rental at the same time, you can definitely have different policies per rental. So you would create your policies, as many as you want. Then you open rental number 1, go to the booking settings section, and select the policy 1 that you have created for that rental. Same, you open rental number 2, go to the booking settings section of that specific rental and select policy 2. So yes, you can definitely have different policy per rental. The default one, or the primary one that you see in the account, is just a default one that the system creates automatically whenever a new account is created. But you don't have to use that if you don't want to. And at the same time, you are able to change the policy per rental. So each one can have its own. Next question from Elwin. I use Stripe for payment collection. However, it is slow. Guests have come and gone before I get paid. Tell us about other methods that Lodgify is compatible. The ones that I have mentioned in the presentation. So other than Stripe, the other gateways, so Braintree and Authorize.net, just check that they are available in your country. And then PayPal payments, manual payments. Not sure about what do you mean exactly by Stripe being slow? I don't know if you want to share any further info on that. But also, if you have noticed issues with Stripe, you could, of course, contact them, but also contact us at help@lodgify.com or directly from your Lodgify account. Let us know what's happening so we can take a look at the account specifically and try to figure out why Stripe is being slow. Or I'm not sure if you're referring to the payout, like on how frequently they pay basically their customers. Not sure about that, but in that case, again, you can check the other gateways if there's a better option for you. Can you use the pre-authorization method while accepting payments outside of the platform? The pre-authorization in Lodgify will only work if there is a credit card in file for the reservation. So the guest must have paid part of the total amount of the booking cost through Lodgify with a credit card. If not, the pre-authorization will not work because there's no credit card registered for that booking. Therefore, the system wouldn't know on which credit card to issue the pre-authorization. So I would say no. Can you allow the pre-authorization to be 1 day before the checkout? That would be a better option. You mean issuing it, so when it should start? I think it is not possible to do it. You have, like, the pre-authorization is either issued on the check-in day or 1 day before or 1 day after. It is not possible to make it start at the end of the booking, even though you can cover the end of the booking, but having it start at the end of the booking, it's currently not possible. But we have Jon, the product manager, here looking and reading all of your comments and feedback. So everything is taken into account. But currently, it isn't possible to have it start later than the checkout. Maximum 1 day. Maximum amount for security deposit, I would say we don't have any.
It's literally as high as you want it, but just be mindful of the fact that not every guest wants to pay a very high security deposit. So,
and also that there could be some limitations. You know that sometimes the credit card put like a roof to the amount that you can. This is not a charge, as we said, but there could be issues if the amount is too high. There could be like they could decline the transaction. That depends on the bank and the credit card. But again, maybe too high could easily imply more issues than not. But in Lodgify, there is no limit, maximum amount allowed. How do I change our policy? Currently, if a guest cancels, they only get 50% back. As we said, you can do it directly from the booking settings section of the account. But we would be happy to give you like instructions that are tailored to your rental and account. Simply contact us. The support team is more than happy to show you like step by step how to do it. There's also we have a knowledge base that is public, of course, and that includes the articles on all of the topics that we have covered during this session. So always keep that in mind that for quick changes like this, you can refer to the articles in the knowledge base. So you get step-by-step instructions with screenshots, so it's easy to follow. How are the notices of the pre-authorization expiring sent? Is that something we need to enable? I've never seen that notification. If you go, now I can't show you, but again, contact us so we can send you the instructions step by step. But in the settings section of your Lodgify account, there's a specific part of the settings that is related to the messaging. Just open the section called automatic responses and scroll down till you get to the category related to the pre-authorization, and there you will find the notification there. So it's normally enabled by default. So unless you have disabled it, you should have it. Question on a different topic. Is it possible to have a security check authorization tab for guests? Must be a qualified approved guest before allowed to book. Something like guest requirements that we have, like that Airbnb has. We don't have it at the moment, I confirm. But again, product managers are listening. So maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I confirm that we don't have it at the moment.
I confirm we're looking into it, but yeah, we don't currently have it.
Okay, thanks. Is there a payment integration with QuickBooks and not to collect payment? So with QuickBooks, you can use Zapier, but that will be because Lodgify is an integration with Zapier, right? So you could use Zapier to connect Lodgify and QuickBooks, but I don't think that applies to payments. It mostly applies to accounting. It's more of an accounting sort of integration, but not for payments. Does Lodgify collect 1% on manual payments? If so, how? We don't. 1% applies to credit card payments and PayPal payments, but not on manual payments. We can't charge if we can't not even see the payment in the account. So no. Can I add a credit card fee on top of the reservation fee?
I can answer that one. No, we can't. And if you're curious to why we can't, there is legislation in the EU that where we are based that prevents sort of discrimination based on financial means, financial payment methods. So I am aware that for a lot of you, when a guest decides to pay by credit card or using one of our payment gateways, that you also have to sort of incur an expense for the reservation and processing that payment. But we cannot legally allow it to sort of pass on that fee, that transaction fee that you have from whatever payment gateway you have activated onto the guest or anybody else, as we are not legally allowed to do that. So they can't have sort of like a markup fee or pass on the transaction fee to guests from our side. So because I know it's kind of a hard sort of feed sometimes as well based on the booking, but it's something that we cannot have you folks offer fee folks legally so long as we're based in the EU.
Thank you, Jon. I would say a couple more questions, and then because I see there's many more, so the questions that we are unable to cover today will be included in the follow-up email. But again, I invite you to contact us, the support team, help@lodgify.com, so that we can actually get into your account and see what's going on and give you specific answers based on your rentals and your settings. So what is the flat rate monthly integration to Stripe? It's $99 or euros or pounds, right? So it's a little bit like you have to think at how much you know that you process every month, an average. And based on that, you can understand better if Stripe, the integration, like the Lodgify extension, maybe is more convenient to you compared to the 1%, but it's 99 euros/dollars/pounds. Is there anything in the roadmap future about adding other payment options like Venmo, Affirm, or other items? You guys charge a fee if someone uses PayPal, and PayPal charges is insane. An insane fee, so it's not cost effective for me to use PayPal as an option. I think, Jon, you.
Yeah, no, Kimberly, this is a popular question and something that we are always looking into. So we have, we have our sort of current gateways looking into sort of adding new payment gateways, not necessarily always Venmo, but we are looking at new payment gateways. Add them. A lot of folks have their own preferences, and yeah, PayPal we know is a very expensive option, and we're trying to sort of add new options and gateways for folks to use, the ones that we offer. So I can't give you a timeline on when, but yeah, it's something definitely we're looking into, so you folks have new options.
Thank you, Jon, again. All right, so I would say that for any remaining question that we couldn't cover, we will be sure to follow up by email. Also, I remind you that we will be sending the recording of this session by the end of the week. So if not tomorrow, it's going to be on Friday for sure. And I also encourage you to use the resources that you have. So the knowledge base, also have a look at our YouTube channel. So Lodgify, you just search Lodgify on YouTube and you will find not just the previous episodes of this series called Mastering Lodgify, but also other super useful and interesting webinars that our marketing team is constantly running. And I want to thank you all for participating, for joining us, for being super active in the chat, for asking a lot of questions. And I hope to see you in the upcoming ones. Stay tuned. As I said, keep an eye on your inbox. We will be sending more invitations for other features, channel manager, website. So I hope to see you all in the future webinars. And again, if we weren't able to answer your questions or we won't be able to answer your question in the follow-up email, help@lodgify, our support team, is always available and happy to help. All right. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you, Jon, as well, for joining me today and for helping me with the Q&A session. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Adriana. Thanks, everybody.
Ciao.